So this is a very complex damp survey. I'm going to act more as a damp detective in this case. So the property appears to have been damp proofed in 2020 using Sitka damp proofing cream and various other methods. It will affect the way that the water shows itself. The buyers of the property, I think they bought in 2023, and there was no condensation, supposedly very little rising damp found at the time. Another surveyor went back and said that there was condensation, which I think actually they were right about. But I think really important that no one else seems to have picked up is there's a leak, there's a mains water leak, and that has probably been affecting the property all along. But it's a solid floor, so the mains water leak is probably underneath the solid floor, and it will have affected various areas that have been damp proofed without dealing with the root cause, but still some of the dampness is coming through. So have a look at the survey. Or the other thing to mention is that there's mold in the front wall and rust, and if anyone has ever read any of my reports, they will know that you don't get mold on rising damp. And it's a sign of excess vapor. It can be localized excess vapor, or it can be general excess vapor, which is the case here. So we know that condensation is a factor. Also, the rust on the pipe tells me that condensation or excess vapor is part of the issue. So let's have a look and listen to the survey. It feels fairly humid in here. Let's see what the data logger says. There's mold and rust. And that's a pipe. Yeah, so standard condensation. Sounds dry lined. We'll have a look outside whether there's a specific reason. I wonder, that's the gas pipe. This is the front wall. There's plants growing, which is a sign that moisture is getting in somehow. There's an air brick there, which is going to cause localized heat loss. There's a crack here. I would say the primary cause is excess vapor made worse by heat loss and potentially some water penetrating through here. But it doesn't seem to be penetrating the whole way through. So there's dampness on the floor. This is the rear of the property. It looks damp, it feels damp. This has been dry lined. Damp there. And there's mould as well there. So we're just going to take the carpet away. This is using a thermal imaging camera where blue is much colder than red. It's very much in the corner. So that goes through. This is on the outside. A lot of heat loss there. Oh yeah, so that's a bit of plinth is missing there. Also, there's a step difference between the two properties. About 6 inches higher here. There are signs of past water coming down. But that looks old. This has been repointed. So this is looking through the neighbour's property. I didn't have access, and if you read any of my reports, you'll see I normally have access to the neighbour's side.
24 weeks.
But that's 24 degrees centigrade, so this is a fish tank. This is using ChatGPT to estimate the amount of water vapour coming off a fish tank, and it's roughly 2 teaspoons per day, which may seem like a small amount, but over weeks and months could make a real difference. exacerbating a problem rather than the root cause. So, oh yeah, there you go. This is looking at the boiler, and a pressure drop suggests that there's a leak, but I don't think there is a pressure drop here. Well, it would be useful to, did you take that up to the top, or where was that when you? This is the pressure gauge.
Yeah, that's about where I took it up to recently.
What would be useful is to put something, a marker or a bit of sellotape or something, just so that you can see if there's any change. After the water's been turned off, and it is going down exceptionally rapidly, which means that there's actually quite a large. So this is where the stopcock's turned off, and the a tap is open into a vessel of water, and if there's a drop in water, it tells me that there's a leak on the mains water. 100% there.
Really? Do you want me to move that?
No, so it's fine. I mean, I can see it. So this is, I think this is to do with the leak, but it's been hidden and this has been down. In fact, if you look here, do you see how that? It's hiding the leak rather than dealing with it. Plaster's been, it's replaced. Ah, see, it's slightly different plaster. So it's all under here.
So.
Yeah, all the way along. Do you see that ridge there? Right. So it's been hidden but not dealt with. But you know, there's. Well, ironically, it would cost them a lot more money than fixing the problem.
Yeah. So
there's the bathroom. Should be fine. Kitchen, bathroom fan has been installed. It should really run at 60 litres a second. But if you close the door, it should be fine. The front of the building has got mould and condensation causing rust around the gas pipe.
Yeah.
So there must have been high humidity at times.
Yeah.
To get mould and the condensation, the rust. This area is at increased risk of condensation as well, because you're slightly below the next door neighbours, which means that their subfloor is up to maybe 6 inches higher than yours. So you're going to get the heat loss to their subfloor as well as the corner. So you've got an increased risk of condensation, and obviously respiration and the tropical tank means that you've got increased risk of condensation in here. But we're going to look at the data loggers just to see, where we're at there. You experience more dampness when it rains outside. It's possible that it's coming through from outside. It doesn't look great, and I'll explain that later on. But you will also get high humidity when it rains outside because of the high vapor levels outside, and the extractor fans won't be nearly as effective. So, and then you've got the leak, the loss of water on the pipe. It's unusual to have it so far away from where the pipes naturally run. They normally run to the front of they run along the party wall from where the tap is to the kitchen. Normally. Yeah, exactly.
Because that's slightly separate from the heating pipes, isn't it? I guess because that all goes.
Wall takes 6 to 9 months to dry out, depending on various factors. But you can soon see the numbers coming down. It tends to be damper at the base of the wall because of gravity. I wouldn't be surprised if this wasn't damp proofed at some stage.
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay.
I think the corners there was some report for this one.
Yeah, I think you've got that on the email.
Something in the corners.
There's like a map of the flat with where they put different types of treatments.
I wonder if you've got 2 different types of damp here. You've got mould there. You've got mould in the corner there, and mould in the skirting board, which is obviously coming from excess vapour. Which means that condensation is a factor. So dehumidifier, which looks good. And I think it said 20 litres. So in summary, you definitely have an excess vapour issue, hence the mould. That is without any doubt at all, and that should be your starting point. So simple rule to follow is called Joule's law. Reduce internal vapour as measured in degrees centigrade as the dew point. Reduce the dew point below the outside temperature by using ventilation and dehumidification. So targeted ventilation, targeted dehumidification. Keep the bathroom door closed, make sure that the fan is running for at least 30 minutes. Keep the kitchen door closed and use the fan whenever cooking. It's a bathroom fan, so it's not operating as effectively. And yeah, you want to make sure that the internal door is closed and keep the external door open if you like. And ideally dry clothes outside or in a vented room, but if you're going to dry them indoors, use a dehumidifier. And I would just keep that dehumidifier running 24/7 until the humidity is dropped, until the internal dew point is dropped below the external temperature for long term. I would also move the tropical fish tank away from any room where you're getting mold and or condensation. Now, there's some additional issues to deal with. So there's the leak. A leak can carry on without damage to a property if it's below the concrete floor. So the area where the mains water is running shouldn't be next to the area where you've got the dampness. So it could be completely separate, or it could be part of the same issue. But if you deal with the condensation first, that was obviously the cheapest option, and you can use a Dr. Damp meter to measure the dampness in the wall, logging it once a week and seeing whether it drops down. If it drops down and disappears, then you don't need to worry necessarily about the ongoing leak. There will be a loss of water, you will be paying more, but the cost of identifying where it is could be quite significant, many thousands. So something for you to consider, and I'll put a lot more in the report, which will come to you in about a week or so's time. So like and subscribe. You'll find a lot of other surveys, such as the last survey where it was a neighbour's wastewater leak. There are plenty of leaks this month. They all cause rising damp-like symptoms, as does condensation. So you've got a mix of the two potential issues here. Thank you very much.